joining me today. Again, my name is Wesley Boudreau, one of the financial advisors here at the Retirement Group. Today we're going to talk about the pension interest rates and how they're affecting the calculation for the ConocoPhillips plans for the fourth quarter of 2021 and the first quarter of 2022. Now, I just want to remind everybody the Retirement Group, we're not employed by nor are we affiliated with ConocoPhillips, but we have been working with employees for quite a while, so we have a deep understanding of the plans, and we'll give you a highlight on the changes coming forward. So before we get started, just remind everybody who the Retirement Group is. Again, we are an independent financial advisory firm that focuses on working with corporate employees. We've been doing this for just shy of 30 years. We work with about 20 some odd companies or so, and obviously ConocoPhillips is one of the large ones we do extensive work with. The reason we focus on a few companies is it allows us to have a deeper understanding of your benefits plans inside and out, so we can hold your hand through the transition process when it comes to retirement. Make sure you avoid a lot of common mistakes and make sure you pick the right day to retire so you maximize your benefits as well. We've got offices throughout the country, so rest assured you can sit down with myself or one of our other advisors face to face if you choose to. But obviously, given the times we're in, we can continue to do web meetings, phone calls, emails, fax, all that information is available as well. Now, at the end of the day, if you haven't taken us up on it, or if it's been a while since you've run one, do take us up on our complimentary cash flow analysis. This is an actual financial plan where we can take a look at what your situation looks like, not just now, but in 10, 20, 30 years down the road. And it backs in and allows us to help you determine the best day to retire, so again, you maximize your benefits. And it kind of ties in hand with the conversation we're going to have today about the interest rates, because there's different quarters of retirement that may benefit you, whereas we may tell you to hang on for a quarter or go earlier depending upon how rates move. And then also just to kind of let you know all your different options going forward, and you can compare different retirement dates with that process as well. Now, if you want to follow us on LinkedIn, there's a QR code on there. Go ahead and hold your phone up to that, and feel free to link up with us there. And that way, if we have any updated changes on the plans, you'll be the first to know from us. Now, as far as ConocoPhillips employees, it depends upon how long you've been working there and where you originally started. But there's a lot of different pension plan options you may see. And for most all of them, they're going to be your classic defined benefit plan, in which case it's formula-based to determine how much you're going to get on a monthly basis for a single life annuity. And then from there, the alternative options are selected based upon that criteria. Now, for the most part, there's really we work with a lot of individuals, and we've come across all these plans. But the bulk of the clients we work with are going to be under one of three plans. But again, if you're under one of these other plans, we can walk you through that as well. The first one being the Title 1, which is going to be the Phillips Retirement Plan. The second one is going to be the Conoco plan, which is Title 4. Those two are, again, your classic defined benefit plan, which is a formula-based calculation to determine what your single life annuity is. And then the newer one's going to be the cash balance plan, which is Title 2. So again, that's going to be a little bit different, in which case ConocoPhillips, after the merger, they put in a contribution into the cash balance plan, and that gives you your lump sum. From there, if you want to calculate out an annuity, you can do so as well. But for all these, you do have the same option as far as your distribution payments. You can take it as a single life annuity over the course of your life, and you can add some period certain options to it if you want to make sure it's paid out for a certain period of time. Then you also have the joint survivor annuity if you want to make sure that your significant other is taken care of, and you can set up so that he or she continues to get 100% all the way down to a 10% continuation. And then we're going to talk about today is a lump sum. So on that cash balance plan, that lump sum is pretty easy to calculate. It's there on your screen when you log in. But on the other plans, you've got the option of taking that single life annuity, looking at your age and your life expectancy, and then the current interest rates to determine how much ConocoPhillips has to give you for you to go out there and try and essentially recreate that same annuity stream. So when we talk about the interest rates, just keep in mind there's really a seesaw effect on interest rates. As interest rates go down, your lump sum is going to come up, and we've seen that over the last year or two. As interest rates go up, you'll actually see your lump sum come down. And what we've seen is interest rates move down dramatically during the pandemic and kind of bottomed out in the first quarter of 2021. Then they started moving back up and then came back down a bit. So the way that ConocoPhillips does it is they're going to look at the average rates in order to determine what your quarter by quarter rate is going to be going forward. And we'll talk about those in just a moment, but that seesaw effect, when we talk about interest rates changing, generally speaking, a 1% change in interest rates is going to equate to about anywhere from an 8 to 12% change within your pension lump sum calculation, depending upon your age. So for a quick rule of thumb, if we have a 1% change, you could see about a 10% change in your lump sum. So if we looked at interest rates potentially going up down the road, and they went up by 1% over the next year, for instance, and you had, let's say, $1 million lump sum right now, you could see that drop by 100,000. So that's why it's important, if you're looking at the lump sum calculation and not the annuity, and you're thinking about retiring in the near future, that we run those numbers to show you what those different options are, so you're not effectively working for free or reduced pay that last year of retirement. Now again, keep in mind, if you're taking the annuity, has no bearing on this. The interest rates do not matter. Now, the interest rates they use are going to be segment rates, which is going to be focusing on the first, second, and third segment rate. These are the corporate bond rates tied to the PPA Act. And so the first rate covers the first 5 years retirement. The second segment covers years 6 through 20. And the third segment covers years 21 and beyond. So for most of us, that second segment is going to have the biggest factor in our retirement calculation because it's covering 15 years of retirement. So let me kind of zoom into these and give you a better idea of the interest rates right here. Now, if we look at the rates for the first quarter of 2022, which are based upon the interest rates we just got out for September of 2021, you'll see the first segment is 0.7%, second segment 2.55, and the third segment 3.06. If we drop down 1 year prior to that, or excuse me, 1 quarter prior to that, which is going to be the fourth quarter this year, 2021, and let's look at the second segment. We'll see that the second segment was actually 2.7. Now we're going to be at 2.55 for the first quarter. So that's a 15 basis point change, which should be about roughly a 1.5%, maybe 2% change in your pension lump sum. So again, for simple math, if you got $1 million lump sum in the fourth quarter, it may go up by about 15 to 20 grand or so if you were to wait until the first quarter of 2021. On the right-hand side, we've got the 30-year Treasury rates. Those are going to be used for a portion of the pension prior to the year 2009. But when you go in there and get it calculated, all this calculation is in there. And we've got going down at the very bottom, highlighted in bold, the second quarter of 2019, just to show you historically some higher rates. We were all the way up at 4.32% for that second segment back then. So again, if we were to theoretically have a move down the road of moving back up, we could get higher, and you could see a pretty drastic decline in your pension lump sum calculation. Now the rates for October, they're not going to have any effect on the pension calculation, but they at least give us the trend and what's happening. There was a big spike from September to October, so it's highly likely if that continues, we'll see a jump from the first quarter to the second quarter. So for those of you looking to retire next year, it may be beneficial. It may be appropriate to look at that first quarter, especially if we see that spike in interest rates going forward. So the best way to do this is, again, to give us a call, and we can run through the situation with you. We can also run that cash flow analysis we talked about, let you look at different claiming strategies as far as different years to look at, and let you weigh the pros and cons of the annuity versus the lump sum, so you can see which is going to be right for you. But again, if you're taking the lump sum, that's where the interest rates have a factor, and it's going to change from quarter to quarter based upon those. And it looks like we should probably see those move up into 2022. So that first quarter may be a low point here in the near future as well. Now, if you have any questions other than that, also just give us a call. You can reach us at 1-800-900-5867, or you can reach us at info@theretirementgroup.com. As I mentioned before, the QR codes, if you want to schedule an appointment with myself, there's a QR code for there. You can reach my calendar or any of the other advisors' calendars. Or you can follow us on LinkedIn if you want to make sure you stay updated on the interest rate changes or any other changes that we see coming about to the ConocoPhillips plans as well. And as I said before, just want to remind everybody that we are not affiliated with, nor are we employed by ConocoPhillips. But should you have any questions, want to dig into your situation, we'll be more than happy to help. I want to thank everybody for taking a quick second out of their day and joining me for this, and we look forward to hearing from you.